Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
Here we are at number 41 of the 49ers roster countdown. Counting down 90 all the way to 1. And at number 41, we have a rookie from last year going into his sophomore year. Deommodore Lenoir, Demo, as they call him. Fun kid. A really fun prospect. Just never really came into fruition last year. And it was weird. The narrative was he was the stud, right? Early, you look at training camp, you look at the first 3 weeks of the season, he started, and it seemed like he was going to be one of the prize guys of the draft class, and then we never saw him again. He came back, made a brief appearance in week 13. We'll detail the snaps, the stats, and all that later on in this episode. But it was weird. Everything was kind of all right. He just needs to move inside. That's what everybody kept saying. Deommodore Lenoir needs to move inside, be the slot guy next year. Turns out he's not really even getting snaps there very much at all. He's still getting more work outside. So let's dive into who he is, what he went through to get here. He's fun, man. He's a lot of fun. And also, why not? Let's throw up some film. Let's put this up here, right here. This goes back to his college tape against Washington State in this very first play. He did this every game. You can see him at the bottom of your screen here. He just runs the wide receiver out of bounds. Like, he is a physical corner. And I would argue his best trait is toughness and tackling. Dude never missed tackles, whether in college or even last year with the 49ers. 0 missed tackles. Very, very good tackler. Special teams as well. Now, he's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's only 22 years old this year, which is nice. He wears jersey number 38 for the 49ers, entering his second season. Now, he's from Los Angeles. He went to Salesian High School, the Mustangs, and was a 4-star recruit. Now, before we jump into kind of all of his high school stuff, he has 12 brothers and sisters. He was the 9th of 12. And his family was very, very involved in his life and basically made academics a huge priority. He went to Salesian, if you're not familiar. It's all boys Catholic school. Had a 3.5 GPA in high school. Parents always stressed academics. And he was kind of the Cordell Stewart of high school football. Played quarterback, wide receiver, corner, running back. And just his high school stats: 108 carries for 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, 663 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, 515 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. The dude could do it all. Somebody asked him about academics one time, and he said, quote, "You have to stay in the classroom and do what you're told," end quote. So very high respect for authority coming across all that. And he was rated the number 1 athlete recruit in the country coming out of high school. Just because, again, they usually do that for, tweeners. You're not sure where they're going to land. And he landed on the defensive side. He was a top 100 prospect before committing to Oregon and had 35 plus offers. Big time schools, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10. Everybody wanted this kid. Now, whenever he went to college, he was incredible. Showed everything that you want from him. It was started 34 straight games for Oregon. The people that talk about like, oh, injuries. This guy, he didn't have them. He's a freaking Wolverine. I think he referred to himself as a hyena, actually. So let's stick with that. But started 34 straight games, had 1,252 coverage snaps. And I will say this, and this has permeated from college to the NFL. He gave up a very high catch rate, over 50% in his 3 years as starter. And just last year, that continued. He allowed a 57% catch rate, which isn't awful, but it is high. So that's one of the issues that you're going to have with him. What he does best, again, physicality. He is tough. At the line of scrimmage, press, he's aggressive. He could tackle with the best of anybody. I put in my draft notes before we drafted him, the best tackling corner in the draft last year. And that has 100% shown itself, consistency at the next level. Ball skills are great. 27 pass breakups, 6 interceptions in his college career. Only had 1 pass breakup last year, no interceptions. So that's the issue. And again, just another stat for tackling. He had 0 missed tackles in 2020 whenever he was with Oregon. Has 158 tackles. So, like, the dude, he's a good tackler. Now, I thought that he would be an inside guy or a safety when it was all said and done. They don't like him inside. I'm telling you all this right now. Like, he was getting work in camp with the second and third team outside and got rotated in a little bit in slot. Majority of his work's outside, whether that's him, whether that's the coaches, who knows. But I think myself and a lot of other, content creators were like, oh, yeah, we'll just put, Deommodore Lenoir, he'll be competing for the starting slot. No, he's not even in competition for that. And I know a lot of people want him to be there. That's not where he's getting work. It's not. And we got so much depth at outside, which is great, but that's an issue. Now, if you look at just kind of his metrics and kind of what he brings to the table, I mean, he's an athlete. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he long jumped 19.3, which is incredible. I mean, like, he's got a lot. And you look at kind of his, here, let's go through his testing things. 5'10", 199. He ran a 4.4440, so he's got speed. 34.5-inch vertical, 7.023 cone. That's not good for a slot corner. He's not shifty. It's just not what he does. There were a lot of athletic profiles that were so close to his. I just wrote them all down. So these are 4 player comps that are similar to him. Christian Fulton, Chris Davis, Jonathan Joseph, Sheldon Brown. All those guys were basically very similar builds and very similar production as far as metrics go. Now, he's drafted in the 5th round, 172 overall by the 49ers, and he did play. He played in 13 games, so a lot of that was special teams. He really only had 4 games where he had over 20 defensive snaps. So, he got his 4-year rookie deal. He got 2 starts, played in 13 games. Had a total 398 snaps as a rookie. I would not have guessed that. If you would have asked me, like, okay, how much did Deommodore Lenoir play, I would not have said close to 400 snaps. Now, to be fair, 162 of those were on special teams, which he was great at. And that might be his saving grace getting on this roster because he was very good on special teams. 236 defensive snaps. And again, for all those people that keep saying, like, oh, he's going to be a slot corner, he only had 34 snaps last year in this slot. So 202 outside and 34 inside. So whether or not they move him inside eventually, he's not there now. He hasn't played there. He didn't play there last year. He's not playing there in camp. If you take away one thing, I feel like all the people saying, oh, he's going to be a slot guy, I don't think that they're paying attention. I really, really don't. Now, the 4 games that he got over 20 defensive snaps was week 1, 2, and 3, and then week 13. 13 was on the road in Seattle. He came in after an injury. Amazing tackler. Finished the year with 13 tackles, 3 solo run stops, 0 missed tackles. Again, what can he do well? He could freaking tackle and he could be physical. Now, he allowed 12 receptions on 21 targets. That's a 57.1 catch rate, which is, you can live with that. That's not an issue. The issue is he allowed 2 touchdowns, 200 yards receiving, and a 121.1 passer rating allowed. A big reason why the numbers are that high is he had 3 penalties. You remember when we were going through that whole stretch with the pass interferences and all that stuff? He was one of them. Just kept getting beaten. Double moves is an issue. He had 1 pass breakup, 0 interceptions. And so, again, how do I say this? I like him. I don't know the conversation that has been had behind closed doors. Is he wanting to stay at outside? Is the coaching staff wanting to keep him outside? Is it both? Is it, what is it? Has he failed inside? I can't see the route to playing time on the outside. It's too deep. It's way too deep. Again, Charvarius Ward, Manuel Mosley, Ambry Thomas, freaking Jason Verrett. That's 4. So you mean to tell me he's going to be the 5th outside corner? Now, in the past, the 49ers have had so many injuries that, yeah, okay, maybe he gets that play, as number 5, he'll get playing time. Last year, the 49ers kept 6 corners on their initial 53. 5 were outside, 1 was a slot guy. So if that's the case, he's making this roster, and I think he will. I'd probably say about 85% that he'll make this roster. But if somebody shines and passes him, whether that's an undrafted free agent or whatever, it's a possibility he'll be out. But anyway, that's Deommodore Lenoir. I like him. Not sure where he fits in on the outside. So we'll keep counting him down.